The rain was falling like it wanted to wash away the whole city. Heavy, wild, angry. And there she was, standing in her wedding gown, soaked to the bone, mascara bleeding down her cheeks like broken promises. The mansion lights behind her glowed gold and cruel, laughter echoing inside, music still playing. But out here, it was silence, and thunder. She held her heels in one hand, her heart in the other. From the corner of the driveway, a car engine purred softly, a black SUV waiting under the dim light. Inside, behind the wheel, a man watched her through the rain-streaked glass. Their eyes met. Just 1 second. Enough to remember every secret they'd buried before tonight. Her lips trembled, not from the cold, but from everything she couldn't say. And then, the mansion door slammed open. A deep, commanding voice roared her name. Amara. She froze. The driver's hand tightened on the steering wheel. His jaw flexed, his heart caught fire. He shouldn't be here. She shouldn't be looking at him. Not on her wedding night. But destiny doesn't ask for permission. And that night, under the rain, under the weight of vows she didn't mean, a forbidden love began to breathe again. Her name was Amara Nusu. 27. Born in Enugu, raised between red earth and mango trees, the kind of woman whose laughter once made old women bless her under their breath. Before the silk gowns, before the diamond ring, she was just Amara from the small house by the stream. Her world smelled of roasted maize, palm oil, and early morning rain. Her mother used to sell fruits at the roadside market, her hands always stained orange with pawpaw. Her father, quiet and proud, fixed bicycles for a living. He believed in dignity more than comfort. A good name, he used to say, is worth more than a full pocket. But the world doesn't always reward good names. When her father fell ill and money became heir, Amara learned fast that kindness doesn't pay hospital bills. That was the year she met Chief Odion Ease, the billionaire who would later become her husband. He was everything her world was not: power, perfume, and polished marble floors. When he spoke, people lowered their eyes. When he smiled, it felt like privilege. He paid her father's medical bills without asking for thanks. He offered her a job at his company, a chance to rise. And for a while, she believed it was fate. That maybe, just maybe, life was giving her a break. But behind every miracle, there's a price, and Amara's came wrapped in comfort she didn't feel at home in. Now, in the mansion by the ocean, she lives among chandeliers and servants who whisper her name like a prayer they don't mean. Every morning, she wakes to a view of wealth, but her heart feels empty, like a song that lost its words. Her desire is simple. She wants to feel again, to love without fear, to breathe without pretending. Yet she knows too well what's at stake. Her family's future depends on the image she wears like armor. One wrong step, one whisper, and everything could collapse. And still, when she sees him, the driver with quiet eyes and calloused hands, something inside her stirs. She hates that it does. But she can't help it. It began on a Friday morning that smelled of wet grass and diesel fumes. The rain had stopped, but the clouds still hung low, like they were waiting for something to go wrong. Amara sat in the back seat of the black Range Rover, her reflection trembling in the tinted window as the driver, Kelechi, guided the car down the long driveway of Chief Odion's estate. He was quiet, as always. That kind of quiet that carries stories in it, stories you can feel but never ask about. The radio played faintly, old highlife music, the kind that makes you nostalgic for a life you never lived. Amara's phone buzzed. A message. One line that would change everything. Greater than, your husband's flight to Abuja was cancelled. He's coming home early. Her heart skipped. That wasn't the problem, until she scrolled further. Attached below was a photo. Chief Odion, at the airport, arm around another woman. Younger. Smiling. Intimate. Her chest tightened. For years she had ignored the whispers, the half-smiles from other women at parties. But now the truth was in her hand, cold and cruel. Her fingers trembled as she turned off the phone. Kelechi glanced at her through the rear-view mirror. "Madam, are you all right?" She looked up. Their eyes met. For a heartbeat, she wanted to tell him everything, the lies, the loneliness, the weight of pretending. But all she managed was a brittle smile. "Drive faster, please." When they reached the mansion, her world began to tilt. Chief Odion's voice echoed from the hallway, calm but sharp, the tone of a man used to control. "Amara, we need to talk." In his hand, he held a brown envelope. He dropped it on the table. Inside, A contract. A business merger that would tie her name, her image, her life even deeper to his empire. Her eyes skimmed the words: public appearance, social partnership, confidentiality clause. No mention of love, no room for escape. Her pulse pounded in her ears. "You're asking me to live a lie," she whispered. Chief Odion's smile was thin. "I'm asking you to secure your family's future." Behind her, through the open glass doors, she could see Kelechi outside, polishing the car, unaware that her world was unraveling. In that moment, something inside Amara broke quietly. She signed the paper. But as the ink bled onto the page, she knew, her life no longer belonged to her. And somewhere deep in her chest, a dangerous thought began to whisper. If love is a sin, maybe I'm ready to sin again. The next few weeks passed like a dream she couldn't wake from. The mansion felt colder now, its silence sharper, its gold crueler. Every sound echoed, her heels on marble, the ticking of the grand clock, the hush of servants afraid to breathe too loud. Chief Odion left for business trips more often. Sometimes 3 days, sometimes a week. He'd return smelling of foreign perfume, his eyes distant, his words calculated. Amara stopped asking questions. Instead, she began to watch. One evening, the generator failed. The mansion sank into darkness. She stepped outside to find Kelechi fixing the fuse box under the drizzle, a small flashlight clamped between his teeth. The beam flickered across his face, strong, steady, unbothered by the storm. "Why do you always do this yourself?" she asked softly. He didn't look up. "Because no one else will do it right, madam." There was a pause. Just rain and breath. Then she said it, the first crack in the wall between them. "You can call me Amara." He froze. The flashlight trembled. "Madam, that wouldn't be proper." "Neither is pretending," she whispered. From that night, something shifted. Each morning after, their worlds brushed in small, dangerous ways. She'd leave the house just as he opened the car door. Sometimes he'd hold her umbrella when the rain came. Sometimes their hands would almost touch. Almost, and that almost felt more forbidden than sin. Kelechi was not just a driver. He was a man who had known hunger, loss, and hard work. Once, she overheard him humming an old Igbo hymn while cleaning the car, a song her mother used to sing. The sound pierced her heart. "Where did you learn that song?" she asked. He smiled faintly. "My mother. She said it keeps spirits calm." That night, Amara couldn't sleep. She dreamt of red soil, her mother's laughter, the scent of home. For the first time in years, she felt human again. But in wealth, love is never private. And walls have ears. One afternoon, the housekeeper, Mama Nene, cornered her near the kitchen. "Madam, forgive me for speaking," she said, eyes darting nervously, "but people are talking. They say you and the driver spend too much time." Amara's throat tightened. "People talk when they have nothing else to do." Mama Nene bowed her head. "It's not just people, madam. Chief's cousin, the one who manages his estate, he has been watching. You must be careful." That night, Amara prayed. Not for forgiveness, but for clarity. "God, what do you do," she whispered, "when your heart betrays your duty?" The next day, while taking Chief to a private meeting, Kelechi didn't speak. His eyes stayed fixed ahead. But when Chief stepped out of the car, Kelechi finally said, "You shouldn't talk to me like that anymore. They're watching you." She stared at him, her voice trembling. "And what about you? Do you care if they're watching?" He exhaled, pain written across his face. "I care more than I should." The silence between them burned hotter than words. From that day, every stolen glance carried risk. Every word was a blade. Then came the night of the charity gala. Chief Odion paraded her like a trophy, diamonds glittering around her neck, smile painted across her pain. Across the hall, Kelechi stood among the staff, dressed in a black suit, his eyes avoiding hers. But when the lights dimmed, and the crowd toasted to love and loyalty, Amara's gaze met his for one forbidden second. And that was the second everything changed. Because later that night, when she returned to the mansion, she found a letter slipped under her door. A single piece of paper, written in rough handwriting. "Greater than, madam, leave the house tomorrow. Someone told Chief about you and the driver. He's coming for you both." Her heart stopped. The air went still. Outside, thunder rolled like an ancient warning. She looked toward the driveway where Kelechi's quarters were, her chest filled with fear and something stronger, the need to protect him. For the first time, Amara didn't feel like a wife. She felt like a fugitive of her own life. And she knew, by dawn, nothing would ever be the same again. The wind began before dawn, low, restless, whispering through the palm trees like ancestors murmuring warnings. The mansion slept under a thick sky, but inside Amara's chest, thunder was already awake. She stood by the window, her suitcase half packed. Each fold of cloth felt heavier than her heartbeat. Outside, the headlights of the staff van flickered. Kelechi was waiting. When she stepped out, barefoot on the cold tiles, the air was electric. Rain threatened. The kind of rain that doesn't cleanse, it judges. He saw her and stepped forward, rain kissing his face. "You got the note?" he asked. "Yes," she breathed, "we have to leave now, before." A voice cut through the darkness. "Before what, Amara?" Chief Odion stood at the top of the stairs, wrapped in a dark robe, his face half lit by lightning. In his hand, the gun he once kept for show. He looked at her, then at Kelechi, and the storm outside cracked open like a curse. "So this is the truth," he said slowly, his voice trembling between rage and heartbreak. "My driver, and my wife." Amara's lips trembled. "You left me long before this night. You left me every time you lied, every time you touched another woman and told me it was business." The thunder answered her words. Chief raised the gun, but Kelechi stepped in front of her. His voice was calm, steady like the ground itself. "If you must shoot, sir, shoot me. She doesn't deserve this." "Move aside," Chief hissed. But Kelechi didn't. And for a moment, the three of them stood frozen, past, pain, and pride caught in one breath. Then lightning split the sky. A crash. A gunshot. Amara screamed. The sound of it tore through the rain, through the world. When the smoke cleared, Kelechi was on the ground, blood staining his shirt, crimson blooming like the hibiscus flowers Amara's mother used to plant. She fell beside him, cradling his face, sobbing as the rain poured harder, washing everything, blood, lies, love, into the soil. "Don't close your eyes," she whispered. "Please, don't leave me." His hand brushed her cheek. "Maybe, I was sent to remind you what love feels like," he whispered weakly. "Don't forget me." And then, silence. Chief Odion dropped the gun, horror flooding his eyes as if the spirit of every wrong he'd done had come to stand before him. The storm roared, and a palm tree cracked, falling against the mansion wall. Amara lifted her face to the heavens. Rainwater mixed with tears, and in that blinding flash of light, she saw something, a figure in the storm, gentle and vast. It wasn't human. It was spirit, the wind in her mother's song, the hum of the ancestors, watching, mourning, forgiving. The thunder softened. Chief fell to his knees, weeping into his hands. Amara rose, her dress clinging to her like a ghost. She walked to the gate, bare feet pressing into the wet earth, the same earth that raised her, that took him, that remembered everything. The mansion behind her felt like an empty shell. Ahead, dawn began to glow, faint, fragile, alive. And in that quiet hour, she understood. Love was never meant to be owned or hidden. It was meant to free the soul, even if it breaks the heart. They say money builds walls, but love breaks them. And when a heart chooses truth over comfort, it must be ready to lose everything, except peace. Amara walked away from the mansion and from the name that had chained her. She carried no gold, no titles, no promises, only the memory of a man who loved her without asking for anything in return. In the quiet rhythm of her footsteps, the world seemed to breathe again. Pain had carved her open, but from that wound, wisdom was born. Some storms come to destroy, others to cleanse. And sometimes, the ones who walk through the rain come out pure enough to see the sun again.